Hello everyone, this is the part 3 of the video on electoral politics. In part 2, we have discussed in detail about the process of elections in India. Now in this part, we are going to study the Model Code of Conduct, unfair practices during elections, powers and function of the Election Commission, and the challenges to free and fair elections. So let's begin with the Model Code of Conduct. It is basically a set of rules and regulations or do's and don'ts for the party or the candidate during the election campaign process. It regulates the whole election campaign. Under this, no party or candidate can bribe or threaten voters to vote for them. No one can ask for votes in the name of caste or religion. We all know here that India is a secular country. No one can use government resources like government vehicles, aircrafts, etc. for the election campaign. Here, the parties have to use their own private resources. No one can spend more than 25 lakh rupees in the Lok Sabha election for a single constituency, and the amount is reduced to 10 lakh in a state assembly election. If anyone is found practicing any of the above, their election can be rejected by the court of law even if they win the elections. Now next is the unfair practices in elections. First is the inclusion of false names in the voters list. It means the names of individuals who actually do not exist in real life, but their names are there in the voters list. Next is the misuse of government facilities by the ruling party. We all know that private resources can be used, not government resources. Third is the excessive use of money by the rich candidates and big parties so as to be at an advantage over the poor or the independent candidates. Lastly, the intimidation of voters and the rigging on the polling day. It means either threatening the voters to vote for a particular party or a sort of booth capturing where the party members of a particular party come and capture the booth and alter the votes as per their convenience. Next, let's discuss the powers and function of the Election Commission. Election Commission is an independent body. It means that whatever decision they take regarding the elections, be it the date of the elections or any laws in the election process, they cannot be questioned and they are not answerable either to the government or to any other authority in particular. The Chief Election Commission is the head of the Election Commission and he is appointed by the President of India. All the decisions regarding the conduct and control of the elections starting from the announcement of election date to the declaration of results is under the control or the purview of the Election Commission. Election Commission sets guidelines to prevent the misuse of power by the government authorities to win the elections. They implement the Model Code of Conduct and punishes those who violate it. On the election day, there are various government officers who are put on election duty. So these officials on that day are under the control of the Election Commission and not the government, means they have to follow orders of the Election Commission and not the government. And lastly, if the Election Commission feels that the polling was not fair in a booth, then they can order for a repoll or a re-election in that particular booth or constituency. Next, let us discuss the challenges to free and fair elections. Firstly, candidates with criminal records are able to secure tickets from parties. It means they use muscle power to gain the tickets. We all know that criminals are not allowed to contest elections, and even if they are allowed by any chance, there are strict rules. Next is that rich candidates and political parties enjoy advantage over poor candidates and small parties. This is a classic example of money power and how with the help of money they gain an advantage over the poor candidates. Next is that elections do not offer large choices to the voters in terms of ideologies because the ideology of the major political parties are almost similar. Lastly, it is the distribution of party tickets to family members or relatives. It is a kind of nepotism or favoritism that exists in the political arena. So, these were some of the challenges that we have discussed, and we all know that India is the biggest democracy in the world, and elections is the heart of it. So, we must ensure free and fair elections so as to keep the heart of the whole democracy alive and beating. Thank you. Hope you have gained insight into the election process. Happy learning to you all.